Good evening, everyone. It's me, Councillor James Ball, up here in North Wales, and I want to have a short talk about the upcoming budget for this coming April. So it's racing towards us. It's been in the news today, right at the end of February, that the continuation of Furlough, the Furlough scheme, the continuation of the £20 per week top up to universal credit are of course both in question, whether they're going to continue or not. A decision which of course is entirely up to our Conservative government and the Tory Chancellor of the Exchequer, sort of poster boy for the BBC and liberal media, Rishi Sunak, but a Tory nonetheless. Yes, this of course concerns me, and I'm assuming will concern many of you, because many of you will have been on furlough. Many of you, like myself, who's having to exist on universal credit, will have been benefiting from the £20 a week increase to universal credit. For those who don't understand, who've never had to exist on something like universal credit, with the £20 a week top up, it means that a single claimant over 25 receives around £90 a week to live on, or just over £90 a week. Without it, of course, it's just over £70 a week. Now, I doubt Mr. Sunak, I doubt any politician in the Tory party or Labour Party or any other party ruling in Scotland, any other part of the UK, has had to live or get by on £90 a week, let alone £70 a week. Believe me, it's extremely difficult. Let's not forget, this is one of the most expensive countries in the world in which to live and try and survive. So if you're out of work and on universal credit, if you're in low-paid, underpaid work, as many are, you'll still also be on universal credit, because universal credit is a sort of a seesaw benefit. For that £90 a week, if you start a part-time job which pays £60 a week, you will only get the remainder from universal credit. It reduces as your earnings in work increase, if they increase. So yes, it's very difficult. So millions of people all over the country right now, and for past months, have been extremely worried over £20 a week. Believe it, you better believe it. I'll just give an example for myself. Once I've paid my share of bills, pay for my food and everything else that we all pay for, if I'm lucky, when I'm paid at the end of the month on universal credit, I'll have literally £10 spare. There are many families and individuals who don't even have that, hence the explosion of food banks, hence food bank referrals. Don't forget, a lot of people are having to pay top-ups to their rent that are already receiving housing benefit, because the housing benefit payments don't cover their rent. Now, even the Tory government we have, even the Tory Chancellor, Rishi Sunak, understood this a year ago. Even they understood this. And at that time, the figures for more people having to claim for universal credit were rising massively. So they realised, I think, just in a sort of public relations, publicity, in a sense, publicity and public relations, they couldn't get away with sort of hiding the fact that people weren't getting enough to heat or eat and survive on universal credit, which had been happening quietly, and people had been suffering quietly for years before this corona crisis hit. So in one sense, the coronavirus crisis has sort of thrown this very real problem into the light, and the Conservatives realised they couldn't really get away with just brushing the relatively small number of people on universal credit under the carpet. They're suffering under the carpet. Do you remember them being asked to justify why there was an exponential explosion of food banks and food bank usage all over the country? And they gave some sort of absolutely nonsensical, usual sort of excuse. The sort of excuse they used to give about, or spin they'd put on people claiming job seekers allowance or universal credit or out of work benefits or housing benefit, that it was a lifestyle choice. A lifestyle choice. Because of course, that's the sort of lifestyle choice we all like to make. We all like to decide to live on £70 a week. Live on. It's not live, it's survive, of course. It's survive on £70, it's survive on £90, and it's easier to survive on £90 than it is to survive on £70 a week. But it isn't easy, it's easier. So of course we're all worried about this, and what I want to know, as someone struggling on it, what I want to know from my residents that are struggling on it, and people all over the country, is why Mr. Sunak, why Boris Johnson, why are you still acting as if we're in normal times? People need to know now if they're going to continue to have the security of furlough. People need to know now if they're going to continue to have the £20 a week top up to universal credit. We cannot wait. It is cruel and unusual punishment to make people who literally count on this to survive wait until April, when you launch your coronavirus budget on Britain and the world. We need to know now. You wouldn't say to anyone trying to run a business, you wouldn't say to the NHS or any other local authorities that have to plan, of course, for the worst, who have to make plans to keep the most vulnerable alive and well. You wouldn't say to them, well, we're only going to give you enough information so that you can make decisions on your spending or what you can spend, your budget. But we're only going to tell you that right at the end of the financial year. We're not going to let you know beforehand, so you can plan from financial year to financial year. Of course, that's not how things work. People have to plan. And it may shock you, Mr. Sunak. It may shock you, Mr. Johnson, and the Tory government, and Labour, because Labour, obviously, again, this week, have shocked everybody. Well, not everybody. They're coming up saying that they're not going to support what even the Tories will support, which is an increase in corporation tax, so that the richest companies, pay a bit more of the share in tax that they should pay, so that people like you on furlough or in low-paid work shouldn't have to pay so much in tax. Of course, that's how a fair society should work. Even the Tories understand this, and Labour, under Sir Keir Starmer, doesn't understand that. So much for Labour socialism, so much for Labour for the working people in this country. So much. So, as a councillor representing people who need to know, as a councillor on universal credit myself, I'm asking you, Mr. Sunak, I'm asking you, Mr. Johnson, and the Conservative government to let us know now. Let us know now whether furlough is going to be extended, furlough scheme is going to be extended, and whether you're going to extend the £20 per week top up to universal credit. Millions of people, including children, need to know, and we need to know now. So that's all from me tonight. Short and sweet. Take care.